Leather match!
Whoa!
Let me tell you about a man who rides side by side with justice. Black gi, black belt, black hair dye. You know who he is.
Eric Bischoff, karate man. Kicking with his feet, punching with his hand. Fires you feel FedEx when you cannot work the pay-per-view. He can break concrete, roundhouse kick you into space. He's an artist with his fist and the canvas is your face. Eric Bischoff, karate man. Fighting all the evil, his fists are so lethal. Controversy creates chaos. Crime doesn't pay us.
This is Tyler David, and you're listening to On the Network.
You know, he's just gotten to that point in his life where he's like, I don't give a fuck. I'm Ric Flair.
I could see that being the case for Vince, though, like his dad being like, oh, you'll never be a wrestler. And then Vince is like, fuck you, I'm gonna take steroids and beat the top face of the company. I mean, I'm not the type of guy who, you know, Google searches, hey, Hulk Hogan's sex tape. What I think they're doing is giving the wrestlers and the audience the true WWE medical experience, where it's, we're not going to do anything to help you until you're about to have a heart attack.
And even then, we might just give you a Z-Pack.
You can't just have someone with a fucking heart disease get in the fucking ring, bounce off the ropes, and die in the middle of the ring on TV.
You would think that, but it could happen 3 times on your show.
If you want to buy a $10,000 Batman replica costume, buy it. Treat yourself.
For Lucha to consider themselves a reality show, that's hilarious, because in it you have a guy that dies, comes back. There's a girl that just disappears. Like, it's just like all this like weird mythical stuff happening around it. I almost feel like wrestling is becoming validated again, and it's not through WWE, but it's because of other promotions like Lucha Underground. I could just imagine like Vince McMahon be like, you guys wanted a Texas death match? Here's your Texas death match. And we're like, no, we wanted Lesnar versus Stone Cold. And you're giving us Flair and Hogan. God damn it.
I suffer from a condition called third-party embarrassment.
Holy shit. Apparently, wrestling, it's hard. Naomi and her husband to a sex shop to look at sex toys to help build her dominatrix gimmick.
And she wanted to buy the butt plug for a cat.
So the book note version of Total Divas, everyone hates Eva Marie.
This is On the Network.
Welcome to On the Network, everyone. I am Rich, and with me as always is Tyler David. Tyler, how are you doing?
Pretty good. How about yourself?
Oh, not too bad, not too bad. It's been a long week, and it's finally coming close to an end, so that's a plus.
Well, at least you get off tomorrow.
Yeah.
Yeah. I have to drag my butt into work, but I'll survive. It's Friday.
Oh, and with us is George Seckman. He was with us a couple weeks ago, and we were able to get him back on. George, how are you doing
fellas?
tonight?
Pretty good. Just finishing up my vacation here. I do have my I turn 50 tomorrow, so there's that.
Ooh, happy birthday. Yeah, so anyone have anything for the news?
And not too much. Did you see Lucha Underground's back?
Oh, I did. I did.
Yep.
That made my night so much better.
I was surprised I broke that news before you did.
Yeah, like, I came home from work that night, and I, like, had a migraine. And, like, I was just kind of, like, in a pissy mood just because of that. You know, and, like, I get home just kind of, like, worn out, headache. And I see that, and I'm like, okay, everything is a lot better. I found a stupid video on YouTube where Dario Cueto just yells ladder match over and over again for like 22 minutes. I made it through about 16 minutes of that.
I think I made it through about 5 before I finally tapped out on that. I tried. I did.
And what it was just, it was on in the background and I was doing other stuff on my computer. So, like, I just sort of tuned it out. You know, so, like, every now and then, though, like, I would go and watch the video and I would see his smiling face yell ladder match. And I was like, life is good. Life is good.
And then the Matt Strikers, whoa! Ladder match, whoa!
I really need to go give that show a watch. I'll start at season 1, and now that Big Brother's ending, should have time.
Oh yeah.
Everybody gives me shit for watching Big Brother, but I'll tell you what, it's nothing like watching people backstab and lie and cheat to each other every single week and put on a smiling face while they do it. Very entertaining, but
that sounds like my work every day.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'll give it a watch for sure.
Sting got injured after Night of Champions.
Well, yeah, we were giving him a bunch of shit for being so old.
Yeah.
Needing a timeout. But
yeah, apparently that second turnbuckle powerbomb really screwed up his neck. That's where they've ended the match the way it was supposed to, from what I read. They just sped it up a little bit because of that. Because he was supposed to like come out, Hulk up out of that and get a big comeback spot, and then go into the finish. But he was not able to actually get into the comeback spot.
Yeah, and I mean, I was listening to Don Tony and Kevin Castle, and I really try not to listen to like this week's wrestling shows, like podcast, until after we record, so I don't speak like, you know, what they say.
Yeah.
But I was just like, okay, let's check this out, and Don Tony made a good point. He was saying, like, whenever Sting went through the announcer table,
yeah,
his head, you know, like they did not move the monitors.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, because me and you were messaging at that time.
Yeah.
And we were talking about that, and I think that's really what did it. And then that turnbuckle throw just was the icing.
He got fucked up when he went through that table. His whole fucking... He got a lot of scrapes and bruises on his sides and all over the fucking place. I think he did say, like, he had some tingling in his arms after that, and then the second powerbomb is what put it over the top, and the tingling...
Right.
Yeah.
So, thankfully he didn't break his neck, because supposedly the MRIs came back negative on that, but...
Yeah, because that was like the initial like thought and report was, you know, he did do that, and he got really lucky. I mean, if you think about that, the way how his head landed on that monitor, number one, you know, and because of that, his body was already in a weakened state, so he probably couldn't stiffen up like he needed to when he was being thrown. You know, so definitely, like, he got really lucky in that one.
You'd think they would be able to fucking come up with some technology to where, hey, our wrestlers go through these tables. If they land on this thing in the table, it's going to hurt them very bad. How about let's come up with a way to where it folds away or something, you know?
Yeah. I'm just surprised. I don't think they necessarily needed to do 2 turnbuckle power bombs to him to begin with. I mean, that was just taken... That was like the 3rd turnbuckle powerbomb that Rollins had done within like a 20-minute period. So you got to know Rollins couldn't have been. He had to have some wear and tear himself trying to do that 3 times in that shorter time period. So I just don't think they really needed to do 3 of them for both of those matches.
Here's my suggestion: instead of Rollins reversing on the table and pushing him through the table with the monitors and everything. How about they start on the one with the monitors and Sting gets reversed onto the one without the monitors? That wouldn't have been very hard.
Right, but the issue is both of them have monitors because that is like the Spanish announcing table.
But they took off. They were just taking the shit off the other table.
Oh yeah.
You remember?
Yeah. That is funny.
Because they were standing. Sting was about to put Rollins through that table without the monitors on it, but then he got reversed. He got pushed through the other one. If Sting would have pretended to put Rollins through the one with the monitors, the Spanish table, he could got it reversed and pushed through the other one.
Right.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I'm fine with the power bombs. Whatever. I mean, he fucking got hurt. He's still way too fucking old to be doing this, but from what I heard, Rollins was so freaked out that he really hurt him bad. He was like in the ambulance with Sting talking to him, and Sting put out some stuff about what happened and his talk with Rollins, and supposedly Rollins was just like, I was an honor to wrestle with you. I hope I didn't hurt you, blah blah blah. And Sting was like, no, don't worry about it. It was an honor to, be with you. So they're on good terms. So hopefully Sting heals up. Hopefully he gets a proper last match, but who knows what's going to happen with that.
Right. But I mean, that is kind of cool, like that Rollins did do that.
You hear about that Bret Hart interview he did with somebody in the UK, I think it was. He had a rather interesting interview, and he's talking about the DVD on Owen Hart and how did he put it? He hopes for the best but expects the worst, because I guess Owen's wife put so many restrictions on this DVD. So, like, it won't have any pictures of Owen as a kid. It won't have any of his old Stampede stuff or anything like that. She had a basic list of questions that they could and couldn't be asked. And he's like, after I sat down with the interview, I knew this. He basically said, how do you put it? He thinks it's going to be the shits, basically. Just not because of WWE, but because of all the restrictions that Martha had put on them trying to do this DVD, that she still, to this day, has not gotten over that. She doesn't want any of the, even though most of the money's going to her and his foundation and whatnot, she just wants absolutely nothing to do with wrestling ever again, period.
Which, I understand her point to a degree.
Mm-hmm.
With that being said, like, Bret Hart is his brother. Like, that's a really weird situation, because Bret's looking at it as, I stayed in wrestling and we all knew that there was a risk.
Mm-hmm.
It's like when you sign that dotted line saying, I want to be a professional wrestler, I just got a contract, you're putting your body at risk, like, instantly. So I think that's how Bret looks at it. And he's also had time to reflect, and you know what I'm saying, like let's say like they tried to do this Owen DVD a year after he died.
Oh yeah,
it would not have played out the same from Bret Hart.
No, it wouldn't, because he right afterwards he blamed WWE straight up for that, and so I don't know. I've heard a couple of different stories on how that played out. Some people say Owen was nervous, didn't want to do it. Others have said that no, he was fine with it, and it was. If you listen to Vince Russo, which you can take like 99% of his stuff and throw it out the window, but he did say that stunt wasn't even pre-planned. They just happened to, the guys who were lowering Sting down just happened to be in that arena during that pay-per-view and wanted to know if they wanted to try it out just to see what it was like. And they did, and they just last minute said Owen Hart could do it with his blue blazer, gimmick, and so it was never anything that was really planned out thoroughly. It was just something that came up last minute. They tried it, and then we all saw what happened after that. But
she's just being a vengeful bitch.
Yeah.
Is all. I mean, the guy devoted his life to something, and he died doing it. He should be honored. You know, he should be. They should put this DVD out there to, you know, memorialize the guy, but instead it's gonna be fucking, you know, half-assed and not really gonna do the job.
Right. Yeah. So, what other news do you guys have?
That's about it for me. Not too much happened. I mean, besides what was on the shows.
Yeah. Like, I really haven't kept up much with like wrestling news this week. You know, it's like nothing really big has happened other than Lucha Underground for me.
Raw's ratings are still fucking dropping like crazy.
Yeah, they are.
Supposedly, Vince McMahon is really fucking worried about it. And you know what happens when Raw ratings drop?
Here he comes. Got to show back up.
Mr. John Cena.
Yeah, I was about to say, John Cena becomes the heavyweight champion and the U.S. champion.
Yep. I mean, he's beat the fucking world champion clean like 2 or 3 times already now.
I think this is my opinion of what's happening. If you look back to different wrestling eras, you had guys going over cleanly with the audience or organic with the audience, right?
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's like, let's say Stone Cold was on his rise. You know, what was that, like 98, 97?
Yeah.
Let's say we take that character where the audience and the fans just get really behind him for whatever reason. But that happens in 2015. What would happen to Stone Cold now? You know what I'm saying? Like, they don't let these guys get over organically.
Stone Cold now, let's see. If Stone Cold was, let's say he was NXT and he debuted on the main roster right now. First of all, I don't think he would ever actually make it to the Stone Cold gimmick. If he came out as like his ringmaster gimmick, he would crash and burn.
Exactly.
He
would be Adam Rose.
Yeah. Let's pretend for a second he started out, you know, as Stone Cold. You know, he developed and became Stone Cold in NXT, and he came up the main roster. I think he would definitely... He'd be in Dean Ambrose's position, sort of, pretty much. It would be identical to Dean Ambrose.
Possibly. I was thinking more or less along the lines of Cesaro. You know, because that's a guy that the fans organically like. You know, it's like when you think about guys that go out there and they put good matches on week after week. Yeah. But what happens is they get... But Cesaro loses every match. They keep putting, like, every time Cesaro makes, like, 5 steps forward, they make him take, like, I don't know, 100 feet back.
But losing doesn't work for Stone Cold's gimmick.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, if he loses match after match, how can you keep acting like you're
a badass
with an attitude?
Right.
If
exactly.
Well, actually, if I'm back in the day, whenever he was first starting, he actually did put over a lot of people on his way up too. He would win important matches, but he would, especially with his feud with McMahon, they were always stacking the deck against him. He would get, like, on TV and stuff, a lot of times he'd end up on the bottom end of the stick until the big payoff at the end.
Well, yeah, they always do the fucking screw finishes, though. I'm talking about, like, Cesaro. He's fucking losing clean to Big Show.
Yeah.
And,
you know what I mean?
And not only that, but Cesaro is not getting those important matches.
That's why I'm comparing him to Dean Ambrose, because Dean Ambrose, sort of has that attitude, and he's in that sort of feud with the Authority, which, Austin was with McMahon, and he's losing, The only difference is they're not giving him that final big win like they did with Austin.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like that makes sense, but I don't know, like I would say, like, Dean Ambrose probably makes more sense than Cesaro, but it's the same concept to me. Like, you have a guy who, if they would have gone another path after that WrestleMania at the first Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal thing, where you have a guy pick up Big Show in the middle of the ring, walk, and throw him over the ropes, just on his own strength, right? And the guy was huge after that, right? Like, the crowd loved him. You know, and that was their chance to make, for lack of better analogies, that was their chance to make, like, the Hulk Hogan, Andre the Giant moment.
See, I think the roster is just way too packed right now, because you have all these A-listers and one belt to go after. And that belt is crowded. Brock Lesnar, Rollins, John Cena, and that's like all that can really go for it right now, because there's like, they need to bring the world heavyweight back to where you have like that second belt that like a Cesaro, Ambrose, Roman Reigns can go after. You know what I mean?
Or what about a European title?
No, that's like a fucking shit belt.
No, I wouldn't go for any. I just think they need to make more emphasis on the titles they have. I don't think they need to add another belt. They need to make more emphasis on, especially the Intercontinental title. I think the Intercontinental title, back in the day, it used to be, if you were the Intercontinental title holder, you were the best actual wrestler, technical wrestler for the most part. You were the workhorse, and it was a stepping stone. When you got that, you were almost guaranteed you would end up in the world title picture after that. They've just so devalued the Intercontinental title at this point that it means nothing. And I think if they could just put more shine on the U.S. and Intercontinental title belts, that would alleviate a lot of this, instead of just throwing it on whoever they think needs it at the time. It's a case of the person making the belt, not the belt making the person. You put the title on somebody that can make it seem important. That's why I kind of like Cena having the U.S. title right now, because it is making it seem like a legit important title to go after, because John Cena is going after it. If they treated the Intercontinental title the same way and not put it on people, like, as much as I like him, Ryback did nothing for that title. Owens, I think, can do a lot for that title. I think Owens can actually do a lot for that title.
See, I was going to say that I think all the belts currently, every single belt, including the women's belt, are currently on who it needs to be on. The World Heavyweight needs to be on Rollins. The guy is one of the most talented guys in the business right now. He's developing his own character. He's away from the Authority now. Well, sort of away from. He doesn't have the fucking henchmen anymore. He's doing his own thing. Yes, he's losing to John Cena, but everyone and their fucking grandmother has to lose to John Cena. John Cena with the Opens, the U.S. title's doing good with that. Kevin Owens is going to do great with the Intercontinental title. Charlotte's going to do good with the women's. New Day is fucking awesome on the mic. They're going to do great with the tag titles.
Oh, yeah.
So, but my concern is, like I was saying, if we bring that World Heavyweight back, because, okay, in wrestling, you either feud over a belt, a woman, or somebody fucked you over somehow, right? So,
yeah.
If you only have 3 belts to go after, and so you have 3 people holding the belt and then 3 people going after those belts. That's 6 wrestlers. 6, and then you have what, 50 something wrestlers in the main roster. Only 6 of those are going after belts. So that means you have to make up fucking feuds for the remaining 44. how do you do that without fucking getting stale like Sheamus and Randy Orton?
I tell you how. I know. Here's how you would do it, but they would never do it. You do a ranking system. You act like in boxing or UFC. You have every time you win or lose a match, you move up and down in the rankings. You have a top 10. So in your top 10, if you're in the top 10, you can start going after the U.S. or Intercontinental title. You get into the top 5, then you can start going after the world title, and you're constantly fighting people to maintain or gain position in those rankings to get to the title matches.
So what you're saying is, give these guys a goal to actually do something.
I
know it's a radical idea, but it just might work.
I like the concept, but I think it would get way too complicated because for example, let's say you have like a Dean Ambrose, which would be like rank 9 or 10 or something like that, versus like Heath Slater, rank like 5 million. So if Dean Ambrose beats Heath Slater, does he move up in rank? Does he stay the same because it was a easy win? Like, how do you determine
that would be like a 0.5 move up.
Yeah. He would stay. Ambrose would stay where he is if, say, Heath Slater pulls an upset win. Then he wouldn't necessarily replace him in that rank, but he would move drastically up. He could move from like nowhere to 12, something like that.
So what you're saying? So there'd have to be a complicated rule by rule. If this happens, this happens. If this happens, if this happens, then you know what I mean. Like there'd have to be a strict rules if we did it that way. But what would really end up happening is Vince McMahon would say, "Oh, he's fucking ranked 12 now. He's ranked 18. Oh, he lost 4 matches in a row. Who gives a shit? He's ranked 2 now." That's what it would come down to. So no, I don't think it would. Really
I know WWE would screw it up. I'm not saying it's. I'm talking in a perfect world. This is how it would work. But I know WWE would never be able to pull it off.
It would be interesting just to see them break it down to, every week the wrestler comes out. Hey, Dean Ambrose, he's 49-3. Like how they do boxers.
Yeah.
But right. You'd have to have so many fucking jobbers though, because only the important matches wouldn't mean anything. That would stop us from having Randy Orton versus Sheamus every single week though. But then we'd have Randy Orton versus a different fucking jobber every week until he finally fought Sheamus at the pay-per-view. I
don't think we would need that many jobbers just because the roster is that packed. You know what I'm saying? So, but what would happen is people would be fluctuating a lot faster. So, let's say a rank 12 guy goes up against a rank 20. So what would that be? Realistically, that would be Dolph Ziggler would be maybe 12 to 15.
Yeah.
And a number 20 guy.
Wade Barrett.
There we go. Or, yeah, Wade Barrett or R-Truth or someone like that, right?
Well, I was just talking about wins and losses.
Right. But that's the thing is let's say that happens. Let's say Ziggler wins in that scenario. He obviously won't move, but that would kind of keep those two guys pretty much where they're at. So they're still able to have those matches nonstop. But it would also cause a lot more run-ins into the ring, because a guy that's number 13 or 14 wants to get to number 12, so he might be helping out the number 20 spot.
But if you count everyone's wins and losses, right, you're gonna have to have the heels and the whoever they're going against is gonna have to have a similar record. Because if you have a Ziggler that has a 50-0 record versus a fucking let's say Barrett has a a 20 wins and 80 losses. Like, obviously, people are going to think, oh, Ziggler's going to win. Who gives a shit about this guy with 80 losses? You got to have the main roster talent all have a decent record. Otherwise, and then that's where the jobbers come in. They can fucking lose and disappear into nowhere. That way you get, your fucking main roster people get the wins. But that whole fucking system's not going to fucking work anyway, so.
I mean, they fucked up King of the Ring. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That was like the most bare bones setup of what we are talking about. And they completely fucked it up. By low advertising. It was like I was watching Monday Night Raw one night, and they're like, "Oh, join us tomorrow on WWE Network for King of the Ring." I was like, "What the hell is this? Where did this come from?" And then I still haven't watched that one, just because Barrett won, and I was like, "Why would they do that?"
Here's my solution: make SmackDown Live. Get a title belt on SmackDown, maybe a fucking light heavyweight or something, so there's a few belts SmackDown exclusive, a few belts Raw exclusives. There's plenty of fucking talent to go around now, even with NXT. They're signing people left and right. So after you do that, then you bring back some stables. So those fucking 80 guys that are floating around having no feuds or anything to do, throw them into a fucking stable, and then bam, if you have 2 stables of 6, 12 guys to feud at the same time. Simple.
Now, here's the issue with the light heavyweight. This is something that was brought up on the Legends with JBL with Bischoff. Was the second that you put a guy on a light heavyweight or like a cruiserweight, just that kind of division, the second that you put someone on that kind of takes them away from the heavyweight competition.
Good.
Which could be good.
Who the fuck? I mean, I was never a fucking fan of Rey Mysterio. The guy should have been the fucking longest reigning light heavyweight ever. Why does he have to fucking be fighting Big Show and Goldberg and fucking these guys who would crush him in 2 seconds? You're the one always talking about believability, right?
Right. But keep in mind that Mysterio is not the only one that was in there. Well, Guerrero, he was at one point in that cruiserweight, light heavyweight division.
And then you saw him get built on fucking steroids. That was believable that he moved up. You can move from one weight class to another.
Okay, yeah, I guess if they did weight, they would have to get down to the actual weight to do that, I guess.
But
even Chris Jericho started out as a cruiserweight,
and he moved up to the world heavyweight fine. So I don't really see an issue with it.
But he's never really been that big.
And that was in a different division.
It's all about believability. If you can get the cruiserweight belt and then change your character, maybe get a little built, get popular, people will be fine with you getting the heavyweight belt. It's all a matter of how the fans look at it and time. Yeah. So I would rather say cruiserweight belt instead of light heavyweight, because it just sounds a little bit better, and it would be a little harder to say, oh, I was light heavyweight than I was heavyweight, but cruiserweight sort of sounds more of not, what it's sort of a different thing.
Right.
Or just call it the European title or something. I mean, I don't like that name, but they could come up with something else for TV title. Every week.
TV title would work. I could see the TV title, especially if they did it the way WCW did it back in the day, where every week you defended it on TV. So you didn't always have to have your heavyweight title holder on every TV show. You could main event a Raw with the TV title.
That would be a good way to get ratings, because every fucking week you turn in, that person could lose that belt unless you fucking make it to where they hold it for a year. That would suck. But if you can make it change hands relatively often, but not too much, not too little, that could definitely get ratings, because every week you turn in, you could fucking see a new champion.
Yeah. No, I would actually go with, at least at first, your first title holder should have a very long run. At least your first one, just to build up the credibility of the belt. You have enough people that are always trying to go after it, so it's not something that gets hot potatoed around. So whenever somebody finally does beat the champ, it means something.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Either that
who
or
would you put on that though? Like, let's say
if
we were the writers, and we were like, okay, guys, we are going to do this TV title. Who would you give it to first?
What's his name?
And how would you get that title in their hands?
Neville. I think Neville for
that'd
sure.
be a good one. I was thinking more Cesaro, but Neville would work too.
And Neville versus Cesaro, like, that could build a good feud.
Yeah.
So instantly we're good there. Now the huge question is how would we get that belt in Neville's hands? It's like, do you want to do the lame, like, battle royal match, which they
I wouldn't do a battle royal. I would do more of a tournament, which they really don't do well, hence the King of the Ring. But when they do them right, they can be done very well. Like the Dusty Rhodes tag tournament that they got going on. That's an actually good example of how to do a tournament.
Right.
I forget what it's called, but I believe it was in TNA. ECW might have did it as well, but I believe there's a match where you start out with, like, I want to say 6 guys, and then it's like, I don't know if it was over the top rope, but the first 4 guys over the top rope are eliminated, and then the final 2 have, like, just a pinfall match. I've seen that before, and then there's another one where you just have, like, 4 or 6 guys, and then once you're pinned, you're out, and then something like that I think could work, because I'm not a huge fan of, like a bracket match, like the 16 men, and then they go down to the final, like King of the Ring. I'm not a huge fan of that. And the Royal Rumble, that's the Royal Rumble. Save that for that. So I think they should come up with, like, a unique match like that.
Now, what if they did that kind of unique match 4 times? Right? And what that does is that would create a buzz about the belt. It's like every week you have a match. Mm-hmm. Throw in different 4 or 5 guys. So it does have that feel of a bracket tournament type setup. But every week, whoever the winner is, you are now one of the 4 guys. And then you're going to have on each bracket, like each side, those 2 guys, from those 4 weeks are going to break up into just 2 single matches. And then the winner of that first, one-on-one match go against each other, and then that's how Neville gets it.
Here's how I'd do it. I'd wait till pay-per-view. Maybe not necessarily one of the big ones, but I'd have all 4. There would be 5 matches. The first 4 would be to determine the final 4, and then that final match would be like fucking ladder match, and then the winner of that would go on to being the TV champ. Having it all in one night, it sort of amplifies the holy shit, this guy went through hell to get this thing. Sort of like how Jericho beat Stone Cold and The Rock in the same night to get the first unified belt. If you spread it across 4 or 5 weeks, I don't know, I sort of lose interest when they do that.
Yeah, but like with something like the TV belt, like I think that would be kind of cool actually, just to get the hype behind it. But I do see where you're coming from. Like whenever Daniel Bryan became champion, and he had to fight Triple H, and then after that he had to fight Orton and Batista.
Yeah.
Like all in one night. Like that was cool, and that definitely built up. So like I see where you're coming from, but I don't know, like I like the idea of like maybe setting it up, like every week, and then the winner of that goes into the thing at the pay-per-view. That way you are building interest for your pay-per-view buys, and you're also building a prestige to this belt that is dead right now. Like it doesn't exist. It's
See, I'd go even a step further though. I would have matches like they're doing on this Dusty Rhodes thing, house shows. There, you could have matches on the house shows building up to it too. So you could you could get people saying, "Hey, I was there when Kevin Owens advanced into the next TV title round at a house show in Poughkeepsie or whatever." Mm-hmm. So you could show those like they're doing on NXT. Just show those matches, or at least highlights of those matches during Raw or whatever, saying, "Okay, this is where we're at in the TV title tournament. Wrestler X beat wrestler Y here. B and C fought over here. Now they're going to end up facing over here." And then each week you just keep the brackets up that way.
Which I actually kind of like that idea because that does build a bigger audience because now you have more people invested across the country beyond television.
I'm not a huge fan of it because if you have this belt if I'm a fucking booker, I want my belt to be fucking the shit. I don't want it to be another fucking shit belt that no one cares about. So if I want a belt to really have prestige, I'm not going to have matches to qualify for this belt at a shitty house show in front of 20 people. You know what I mean? Like, I'm going to make these matches important. Every single one important. That's why I don't really like this Dusty tournament. It seems like they're just throwing, this person beat this person at this random house show. Move along to the next round. Like, they're not really putting the effort into it. We should be seeing these Dusty matches every single week. We didn't even see one this week, did we?
No, we saw promos for it.
So they don't. It seems like they're like, I got this brilliant idea for this tournament, but then they didn't follow through with it. It seems like.
Well, they did have the tag title match, so that's probably why they did that this week. They had the tag title match and they had Asuka's debut, so I can kind of forgive them this week for not putting the Dusty. And they did actually update on the brackets and say, okay, here I remember them saying who's won and who's not, and what the next brackets are next week.
Right. Yeah, like I think the Dusty thing is totally fine. While we're talking about, let's just jump into NXT, huh?
Okay. Hey, before we do that, you want to see what the updated card for the big Brock Lesnar return to Madison Square Garden card is?
Oh yeah. I haven't even looked at that yet.
I just got that brought up. You got right now it says steel cage match for U.S. title, Rollins versus Cena. Tag title match, Dudley's versus New Day. They just changed the Jericho Kevin Owens to an Intercontinental title match. Lesnar versus Heyman, Lesnar versus Heyman, with Heyman versus Big Show. Our other favorite match, and then our second other favorite match, Orton, Sheamus, Ziggler, Rusev. And then appearance by Kane, Mark Henry, Stardust, Team Bella, and more.
No Eva Marie yet?
Not yet. Yeah, did you see what they're doing with her on how they're trying to play this up with her now on NXT? I guess we can get into that now.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, so the NXT starts off with Eva Marie and Carmella. And I was actually kind of excited just because I like to see Carmella in the ring. It's like she's been doing interesting stuff lately. Like, I remember whenever she first debuted, I was like, oh god, this is going to be horrible, right? But she's putting her work in.
Yeah, she has really improved. She does impress me.
Yeah, Carmella is definitely improving.
You know, like, she's like one of those people that I can't wait to see where she's at if she keeps this, path. Where she's at in like 2 years, 3 years. You know, like...
I mean, she hasn't gotten the chance to put on a decent length match yet. I'm curious to see. I don't even know if she's ready for that yet, but...
I don't think she is yet.
Yeah.
No.
Which is why, like, 2 to 3 years, I figure if she keeps improving at the pace that she has, 2 to 3 years, she'll put on a damn good match.
She's already got the ring personality and the crowd down. She just needs to... I mean, she's got some moves, too. She just needs to work on the advanced stuff.
Right.
And wrestling Eva Marie ain't gonna do it.
Oh, no. And I think that's the reason why they're doing that, is because the crowd likes Carmella. Because, all the reasons that we just said, or even that the most base reason, her association with Enzo and Cass right now.
Yeah.
See,
it's...
See, Eva Marie has no in-ring personality, so what they're trying to do is find an easy way for her to build heat. And the easiest way for her to build heat is all she has to do is go out and scream, how you doing? Which, first of all, is not building her heat, because she's doing it horribly. Her scream sounds ridiculous. And the crowd is not hating her because she's saying that. They're hating her because she fucking sucks.
Yes.
So she's building the X-Pac heat, not the genuine heel heat. But pretty crazy though. They did you see that they're trying to make us doubt ourselves with the kick out last week?
Oh my god. Well, first off, the fact that she shot a promo about that.
Yeah.
Like, come on, you suck. Like, why?
I think they're trying to build up this thing with her and that particular ref now, where they're going to do a thing where that ref favors her in everything.
Who the fuck is so bad that they got to build a storyline around her botches?
Yeah, exactly.
Really? And then, what? Okay, this motherfucking her fucking catchphrase, all red everything. The fucking bitch came out wearing blue.
You know, I was about to say that. Like, that bothered me so much because, like, her boots, I think, I don't know, like, something that she was wearing actually says that, like, all red everything or whatever.
Yeah. And it's fucking blue.
And I was like, are you colorblind?
I must have not even... I didn't pay close enough attention to her to notice that, but I'll have to check that out.
Oh, yeah, like, I noticed it, like, right when she walked in the ring. Because, like, I was just like, you're wearing blue, like...
Oh, my God. And then did you see her fucking running kick off the ropes? Oh, my God.
Oh, God, yeah.
When she runs off the ropes, it's like, okay, let me carefully position myself. I don't want to break my nails. And then
what I think it is I think she's scared of popping another boob. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah. Fucking upgrade to the deluxe durable package. Shit.
I mean,
but yeah. To me, it seems like they're really going to be building this up where that. If anything, this is going to get more heat on the ref than on her.
And who the fuck wins by count out like that? Come on.
Yeah.
I mean, she didn't even fucking hit her head on the thing. If you watch it, it was
her hands.
That was horrible. Oh my God.
Poor Carmella.
Yeah, everything about this match. And the fans were chanting all botch everything. That was the only highlight.
Yeah. I did see, like, those one or two people with, like, Eva Marie signs, and I was like, I forgot to keep watching for, like, that person to see if I could see them, like, later on.
I'm sure they were bought and paid for.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, my God.
Yeah. I mean, it was just so bad. Like, I know we just talked about everything, but my mind is still just trying to accept the fact that this is what they're passing off on NXT now. Like, I don't know. I'm spoiled, I guess.
Well,
Yeah,
you know
I was
why
going
you're
to say,
spoiled?
I think we've been getting spoiled.
And, well, Banks versus Bailey in an Iron Man match is definitely going to spoil us.
Yeah. And that's what the thing is. I think we tend to forget that technically NXT is supposed to be a developmental. So most of the people that are supposed to be there aren't supposed to be as good as they are. They've just brought in a whole lot of really good, talented indie guys now. So it just shines a light even harder on the people that aren't up to that level yet.
Right.
I think personally, to me, NXT is not even developmental anymore. They are touring the country now. They are making money off this product. This is not developmental. It's a third brand, is what it is now. If it is, it won't be long before everyone agrees with that. Because there still are things, they still are technically bringing the new guys in and everything, but it won't be before long before you see fucking, I guarantee you in the next year or two, some main eventer on the main roster will go down to NXT and have some matches.
Yeah.
And go for the belt or something like that.
I could see that. I mean, it sucks, but I could see that happening.
And they won't even consider it like a downgrade. They'll consider it like a lateral move.
Yeah. And that'll be the beginning of the end.
Right. But the reason why it's going to get there is because the guys that they're bringing in, like Apollo Crews, like that guy, he's like, every time I see him in the ring, I want more. It's like, you're seeing these guys, or, fucking Bailey and Sasha. It's like, you're seeing these matches, and you're seeing these newer people come in, and they are all blowing everyone out of the water on the main roster.
Now, is that because the main roster isn't as talented, or do you think they inhibit what they can do?
I think, the people in NXT are what I would call enhancement wrestlers. And I'm sure this might have a different meaning, but like when I say this, these people are going out there and either they know each other really well, so like they work together really well and their booking is amazing. Or, I don't know, but like, it seems like they go out there trying to put each other over.
Well, I think part of it is they're fighting for their careers, where you're on the main roster, they sort of take it easy, because they're already there. They just need to keep themselves from getting injured and make money,
Right. But I don't know, like, I really hope that doesn't happen, like your scenario, but I could see it going in that direction. I'd probably say 4 years. Maybe not 2 or 3. I would say 4 or 5. And I don't know. Because at the same time, they are bringing in people like your Dana Brooks, your Eva Marie's.
If they keep the way they're going, I wouldn't be surprised in 6-8 years NXT is off the network and on fucking cable TV getting better ratings than Raw.
Which is why it's going to stay on the network. No, really.
If
that's
you can
why.
make money, you think Vince McMahon wouldn't say, well, shit, if I can make money off of this product, which I own, why wouldn't I do that? You know what I mean?
You want to know why I think that will never happen?
Why?
Because that's happened before, and Paul Heyman got fired. I'm being dead serious.
Yeah, I remember that, yeah.
SmackDown for a period of time was the show to watch, where Raw was kind of the B show. And the second that happened, because it wasn't Vince's baby. What happened to Heyman? He disappears. SmackDown goes to hell.
Well,
and
here's another thing to consider. In 6 to 8 years, is Vince McMahon going to be alive to worry about it?
No, but now we're dealing with Stephanie.
Well, you're dealing with Triple H as well, and he's all for NXT.
He's all for NXT, and Stephanie says she's all for NXT. But you're putting way too much faith in Triple H will have enough power to do that. It's going to come down to a McMahon decision, not a married into a McMahon decision.
I don't know. I think they're going to look at dollar signs more than, hey, this was my fucking show. You know what I mean?
No, because she was one of the ones that had the issues with Paul Heyman and SmackDown.
I think she just had issues with Paul Heyman.
Oh, more than
Not
likely.
necessarily SmackDown was doing better. I don't know.
But I don't know. Like I really think that's what it comes down to. Like, at the end of the day, it's Raw is what got us here, so we have to treat it as if it's holy.
Yeah.
You know, and it's stupid, and it's a horrible concept, but I think that's really what it comes down to.
We'll see. We'll see. Give it time. What else happened? Asuka debuted? Or why am I?
Yes.
Why do they spell it? Who the fuck spells it Asuka, but then it's Asuka?
That's the way the Japanese language is. Trust me. That's just the way the Japanese language is. I even living over here in Japan, I see that. I would pronounce it Asuka. The Japanese don't put a hard emphasis on the U. They just go Asuka. So it's just a quirk of the Japanese language. They are right with the Asuka pronunciation. There's a big naval base up north of us that I always called Yokosuka. It's spelled Yokouska. Japanese call it Yokosuka. So it's just a quirk of the Japanese language.
Yeah, I see what you're saying.
Mm.
Yeah, so...
But I did love her debut, though.
I personally did not like it at all.
I liked the first half.
I did till the very end.
Well, it's not just the very end. It was... I liked it when she was out there. And then she got on the microphone. And I'm not sure if you guys caught this. I was actually surprised that this was on TV. That someone decided to leave this in the editing room. But once she started talking, if they would have kept the camera on her, it could have worked a lot better. But it went to the audience.
Yeah.
And the audience was sort of laughing at her because she doesn't speak perfect English. You know, it wasn't the same. Like, they did not have that problem with Itami. You know, because that audience was like, Kenta's here, yes, and you know, like, they were excited. With her, I felt like they were like, okay, that's cool, she's here. Like, I don't feel like as many people knew who she was as they knew who Itami was.
That's...
You know, but, like, once they went to the audience and there were people laughing at her, I was just like, this is cringing. Like,
see, here's how I would have done it. First of all, I did not like the whole fucking Emma and Dana Brooke coming out. And if somebody comes out to intimidate you, you don't just fucking slink away. That just makes her look so weak. Oh, she fucking stared back at them menacingly. Who gives a fuck? You still slunk away? You gotta fucking defend yourself. Back yourself up.
I don't know. I really did like that very end, just the look, just because the way Emma and Bimbo, whatever, reacted. Just because the look she gave them and their reaction of, initially they're like, yeah, we taught you, and then she shot him that one look, and they're like, oh shit, what the hell have we gotten ourselves into? She might not be as easy as we think. So I think that's going to play up into this. That they're underestimating her, and her letting them underestimate her, not doing like Tommy did and start beating on the guy immediately and everything. I think this would be a better slow build to where it looks like she initially looks like she's intimidated but isn't really, and then it'll eventually build to her kicking their ass.
See, that works for an American woman. For her who can't talk on the mic, it doesn't work because she started off so weak. I don't know. Here's how I would have brought out Dana Brooke and Emma talking shit about whoever. They pick on the fucking woman with the with the microphone. You know how she's always tapping her on the head. Fucking Asuka comes down, beats the shit out of both of them, and this is how you make it memorable. When's the last time you seen a woman wrestler go through a table? You have Asuka put both those bitches through a table, bam, memorable. And then she's badass, she doesn't need to talk on the mic, end of story.
Yeah. I just like her more of a conniving, devious. I want to see her eventually not do that cheery baby face, I'm super glad to be here, be the conniving evil, like I will take advantage of you, will think I'm weak, but I'm going to take advantage of you type heel.
I think what they just did with her whole debut on NXT was they set her up as the female Finn Balor. Well, let me explain. So Finn Balor, when he's doing his normal promos and anything other than a takeover, pay-per-view, or whatever that is, right? He is your mild-mannered guy until he's in the ring. Right? So I would not be surprised if they set her loose into the ring. But that whenever she's doing promos and stuff, she's that weird,
I have
shy.
seen her in demon makeup as well.
You know, like, I would not be surprised if that's what they're doing with her.
But unless she improves her English significantly, she's gonna fucking crash and burn. Unless they either need to make her the strong silent type that never fucking talks but beats everyone ass, or they need to give her someone to talk for her, which they're probably not gonna do.
But think, like, let's say she talks less. Like, considerably less. But she laughs at him. Her voice would be perfect for her laughter. You know what I'm saying? Because, like, I could see her voice, like, when she laughs, being kind of creepy and mischievous.
If they kept it to, like, let's say Dana Brooke and Emma was out there talking to her, and her responses were just one-word answers sort of deal.
Exactly.
That could work better, and then she could do the menacing laugh and shit. That could work. But if they want her to go out there and have a fucking promo, that's not going to work.
Not right away.
I don't think they're going to do that. I don't think they're going to have her out there trying to cut 20-minute promos or anything. That's why her debut promo wasn't really that much of a promo, other than I'm glad I'm here in NXT. That was the gist of her.
They shouldn't even did that, because personally it was fine for me, but there's jackasses out there who are going to treat her, look at her like shit because she can't speak English. Just right, their initial first impressions are so important, and everyone's first impression of her was the fans laughing at her because she couldn't speak, and then their second impression was her slinking away because she was intimidated by them. So it wasn't until their third thing that finally she gives that menacing look. You know what I mean? Like, it should have been right off the bat. hey, this woman's badass.
Yeah, but that look, I think, definitely changed the mood of everything. You know, like I think that they were able to save it, and I'm interested in seeing what they do with her.
Mm-hmm.
I'm really hoping that they do good stuff with her.
But okay, look at it like this: she was on TV for 10 minutes. 10 seconds of it was good. How is that good TV? You know what I mean?
Right. Oh, I'm not saying it's good TV. I'm just saying I'm hoping that they're able to do something with what they already did.
Yeah.
Like, I'm looking at this kind of going, well, they put themselves in a corner. They saw the weaknesses. They saw the strengths. Maybe they're able to build on the strengths and let the weakness be part of her character. You know what I'm saying? Like,
I'm just
if
looking
she's
forward
that
to
shy
Dana Brooke
person,
getting her ass beat, personally.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's it. See, what I would do is I would utilize Emma in this role. Like how Emma aligned herself with Dana Brooke when Dana Brooke debuted as where she was supposed to be this big badass diva, whatever. Asuka comes in, kicks Dana Brooke's ass. Emma looks at that and goes, well, maybe I bet on the wrong team. Let me now slide over to her. She looks like she could get me even further. It would further Emma's little backstabbing character herself, where she just finds the strongest partner she can find and aligns herself with her. And then as soon as the one, her original one falters or fails, she moves on to the next one.
What I think they should have did is they should have rolled off that win she had in that Fatal 4-Way that she wasn't even supposed to win. They should have rolled off that. They could have they needed to give her some wins week after week, crushing some people.
Yeah.
And then when Bayley and Sasha's done, Bayley has a fucking top heel with Emma to feud against.
Yeah, but for whatever reason, they just don't want to get behind Emma as a top tier type title contender just yet.
Yeah,
so I like that. Yeah,
her with Dana Brooke, trying to push Dana Brooke, but that's
it's her serving her time for that Walmart incident.
Yeah,
like I really think that's what it is, because Emma was being pushed, and then once that happened, that was it. Well, I guess she was being pushed. She was at least on the main roster.
Yeah,
you know,
with that Santino crap.
Yeah, so she probably would have
happened.
Right, she probably would have ended up in NXT either way. After all that, but I have a feeling that definitely escalated everything back to, you're going back to NXT and you're going to rework this.
So, what else happened? Bull versus Breeze. They're gonna drag this out fucking so much. Watch.
Oh yeah. At least till the next takeover.
Well, next takeover they've already announced Breeze versus Cruz.
Oh yeah. Okay, so I guess we're stuck with Bull versus Breeze for the next year.
Probably. And then let's see, what else do we have? Vaudevillains Tag Team Championship match.
The return of Blue Pants.
Yep.
Yeah.
Why don't they just fucking sign her already? Who the fuck says, let's have this woman pay her to show up all the fucking time and not fucking sign her? Like, that doesn't make any sense. We're gonna have her every week, but we're gonna pay her off the books. Like,
now I'm wondering if that's part of her mystique. Like, are you telling me that WWE would sell a shirt for someone that's not signed?
She's not signed. All the divas were complaining about it.
Right, but I just have this weird feeling that she might have signed, but they're keeping it a secret just so they
didn't
can
even
build
sell
this real
their
heat.
own roster.
Oh, I could definitely see them doing that to build real heat. That way, people really want to fight her.
I think she may. I think she may have done like a Samoa Joe deal, what he did to begin with, where he still was able to do independence and stuff to finish out what he was doing there. So I could see them doing something very similar with her.
And they're just not going to publicize it. Like, I could see that as being part of the contract.
Mm-hmm.
I think that they just don't give a shit about her at all, and they think she's gonna fade away, so they're not gonna bother signing her.
Which actually kind of works out best for her, because she's getting all this big exposure on WWE TV, and that she can turn around and
Make money
exploit
off
on the
shit.
indies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll
So
see
it's a
what
win-win for her, either way.
Did you see the Vault Villains are out of the tag tournament?
Yeah.
They lost to fucking Dawson and Wilder?
Yep.
Ugh. Fucking good job.
And the more I look at this brackets, the thing that whenever I first heard of the tournament, my biggest fear was, and it's now returned, your final's going to be Joe and Balor versus Corbin and Rhino.
No. Balor and Joe versus Cass and Enzo is next week on NXT. Balor is going to... Joe is going to betray Balor next week. That way you can have a singles match at TakeOver between them two.
I would like to see that. I would hope to see that. I don't have faith that they will do that.
Oh, yeah. Reality says Enzo and Cass is out.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'd put money on this one. I don't think... Who's going to be the...
Because with me, the ideal teams at the end would be the Mechanics, or Jordan and Gable, and Enzo and Kaz. That would be my ideal finals.
So if what I said doesn't come true, that means Enzo and Cass are not going to be on the TakeOver?
Again, yes.
Why would you
No, I think
that.
I thought why did they pass it up in Brooklyn?
They were at Brooklyn. They just weren't on the show. They were on the first hour of it. Yeah. So, but this one's at Full Sail, so there's not going to be an extra hour or whatever. Yeah, like I said, I would love to see Enzo and Kaz and Jordan and Gable be the final two teams, but I just really have a feeling they're building towards Joe and Balor versus Rhino and Corbin. So there's going to be 3 tag matches, right? There's going to be the final 4 are going to face each other, and then that goes down to the final 2 teams. So there's 3 matches. Then you got Sasha and Bayley. There's 4 matches. Then the tag titles are going to be on the line, probably.
Yeah, probably.
Maybe, but I don't know who they would put them up against this right now. Yeah, they don't really have a number 1 contenders right now. So that's up in the air. But then you have Breeze versus Cruz. So there's 5 matches. So I think there's definitely room for at least, Balor versus Joe could definitely fill a spot. And then, so I don't know who else would they put into that pay-per-view if they don't do that.
Nia Jax.
Yeah, you got the Nia Jax debut, and then you're probably going to throw Asuka versus Dana Brooke there. I just cannot remember her name. Okay. All right. Well, we'll see what happens. It was a decent NXT though.
Well, shit, we're about an hour and a half in. We didn't even take our break yet.
Creature Feature, a bone-chilling podcast of depraved horror. Creature Feature. If you suffer from a heart condition, avoid Creature Feature. Chunky Larry plunges new depths of terror in Creature Feature. Listen if you dare. Available on Stitcher, iTunes, and Feedburner at geeksoftheindustry.com.
Movies need only 3 things: badasses.
You tell me who you want done, and I'll do the hell out of it.
A chick with drive who don't take no jive.
Boobs.
Do you know that the female breast, known to be the source of life since Eve, can be deadly weapons?
And body counts.
Body count. The mathematics of murder and menace.
The BB&BC podcast discusses lesser-known action, exploitation, and horror cult cinema. You can find the show on iTunes, Stitcher Smart Radio, and SoundCloud by searching for BB&BC podcast. You can also listen to each episode directly on the show's website at badassesboobsandbodycounts.com.
Got the goddamn message? Let's go to work. Wrestling Soup, motherfucker.
Wrestling Soup, motherfucker.
It's Wrestling Soup, motherfucker. Pay attention. Wrestling Soup, motherfucker.
Wrestling Soup, motherfucker. Like, this shit sucks, but I know it's good for me, you know.
Motherfuckers.
He kept on caressing Triple H's cock.
There's only 2 kinds of men. Ones that have raped and ones that haven't raped yet.
Yeah. And you had to go bust like
WrestlingSoup.com. Come face the music with us.
Hey, I'm Joe.
Hey, it's Amy.
And this is the Face the Music podcast commercial.
On our podcast, we talk to musicians to find out what makes them tick.
So if you love music
and want to know more about your favorite local musicians,
then check us out at facethemusicpodcast.com.
That's facethemusicpodcast.com.
That's facethemusicpodcast.com.
So check us out every Thursday for new releases.
You can also subscribe on Stitcher and iTunes. Enjoy the episodes.
I'm gonna buy a diamond ring. Yes.
Yeah, let's take a...
Good. And I'm 2.5 beers in.
Yes.
Okay, well, wake me up when you're done.
No, like this week's Total Divas was interesting and fucking hilarious.
Well, hey, don't forget, this is George's favorite part, so we got to talk about last week's Total Divas as well. Don't forget that.
Oh, yeah. Dig that knife a little deeper.
He needs a double dose of Total Divas. So let's see. Let me run through last week real fast. Let's see here. John did a stand-up comedy. That was pretty funny. Brian was not cleared by the doctors on WWE, but then this week, I heard news that he was cleared.
Okay, no.
Did you?
So what it was he was cleared by his doctors, but the WWE doctors did not clear him.
I did hear somewhere that they did recently, though.
But that's recently.
Yeah, that wasn't on Total Divas. That was just recent.
Right. And we're actually able to set up the timeline of where they're at in Total Divas.
So do you think they'll fucking throw him into the Royal Rumble to lose number 10 again? get get thrown out again?
I hope not.
He doesn't need to be doing a Royal Rumble right now.
They should give him more time to heal up. I mean, even if he's cleared, he needs to heal up a little better.
Yeah. Or put him in a Survivor Series.
And then
that would be the way to bring him back.
So and then here's one thing that happened. Bree is apparently on prenatal vitamins, so she's all in baby mode. So somebody wrote somewhere, how would you break up the Bellas if you were booking this or whatever? And I said, get them pregnant. If they get pregnant, they're gone, and then we're left with fucking Charlotte, Paige, Sasha, and Becky on the main roster. Let them fucking run things for a while. Get rid of Brie, get rid of Nikki. Let them fucking go do baby mode for a while. And then that way they could stay in Total Divas too. They have an excuse. Like, hey, we're having a baby, we're going to be out for a while.
Oh god, diva babies. Just think about it. Yeah, dude. Just think about it. It could have a theme song kind of like Muppet Babies, but not nearly as catchy. Oh my god.
Baby mode.
And all we will ever see would be like Daniel Bryan's like back of his head. Like he would be like the nanny. Oh my god.
And fucking Nikki would fucking be like, this is how you breastfeed, Brie, and fucking have her tits like hanging out like the whole fucking show.
Which
I would watch that. Okay, I'll admit I'd watch that.
Did anything else happen in that last week's episode?
Let's see here.
I don't remember it being like that great of a show.
Paige got engaged, which is all fucking hoax. But let's see. It was just a real emotional one for Daniel Bryan and Brie. He was talking to her about, he's injured. They're not going to.
Yeah.
Be. So that was interesting to watch. But yeah, that was last week's episode. So let's get to this week.
Let's get to the good stuff this week. First, I'm just going to start off with kind of the sad part. And it's interesting because they're just now getting to this. And this was also the first night, or our first episode. That's how, I keep this show in my timeline now. Is whenever we were recording our first episode of the show was on this day. They were all in Mexico. And they were all together on some touristy, go see the Mayan stuff. And, Natty is on her phone and she sees that Hunter, yeah, she calls him Hunter, that's amazing. But Hunter tweeted that Dusty Rhodes just passed away. And this segment was awkward because Natty took it really hard. Paige took it really hard. Everyone else was just kind of quiet.
They were half crying because they were sort of like, hey,
on camera.
If I don't cry, I'm gonna look like I don't give a shit. Sort of look, you know what I mean?
Right. And it was awkward because the tour guide sees Paige and Natty crying, and everyone else is just kind of quiet. Alicia Fox was walking with the tour guide, and she was just quiet. She didn't... I'm guessing she really never, really worked with Dusty Rhodes that much. I'm guessing. But Brie kind of became, the spokesperson because the tour guide's is everything okay? And she's like, well, someone that we work with just passed away, or we just found out he passed away.
Mm-hmm.
And... then she's like, he was more like a mentor to us, and he's like, oh, I'm sorry, he gave his condolences to them, but I'm thinking, the way how she said that just sounded odd, just because I don't see the Bellas and Dusty really working that close together for her to be calling him a mentor.
I think Dusty spent his time with women that could actually wrestle. and have a chance.
Exactly. Exactly. And it was funny because that was brought up. It was either Paige or Natty that said, you know, he would, like, give you hell, but he would only give people hell, you know, like, he would only pay attention to people that he thought was worth his time.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and I think that's why, like, Paige and Natty were probably closer to him than, let's say, Nikki Bella. Well, that
got everything on a silver platter.
Right, that, and also Paige and Natty spent their time in NXT. The Bellas never really did that. You know, like, so they also, like, worked with him. You know, he taught them how to do promos. They were closer. But it was just an awkward scene, but it was kind of sad because, you know, like, Natty took it really hard, understandably so. Paige took it really hard, but just everyone else's reaction was just like,
We're in Mexico, where's my drink?
Yeah.
Man, that fucking sucks that we were fucking here, at home, staying up late to make a podcast, and they're fucking getting drunk in Mexico.
Yeah.
I need to start drinking while we do this.
You know, why am I not drinking?
George got the right idea.
Yeah, I said, I'm on my second Sam Adams Rebel IPA. What are you guys?
I have beer. It's right there. It's like, no. So let's get to the funny part of this show. So they're in Mexico, and Tyler, did you notice that they're staying at a hotel, or it's not really a hotel, it's like
mansion.
A condo. Yeah, it's like a mansion.
With butlers and shit.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say. I didn't notice it at first, but then whenever, who was it? Trinity and Alicia Fox, they came in.
Yeah.
And Brie was like, hey, get them a margarita. She wasn't talking to any of the girls. And I was like, holy shit. Like, how much money did they spend on this vacation?
Brie, or not Brie, Nikki was like, oh, I paid for all this, blah, 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 blah. No, you didn't fucking not. The TV show paid for that shit to get footage of all them together. Nikki did not go and spend $1 million fucking dollars to rent that mansion with butlers so all the other divas could come mooch off her.
Yeah. And did you see, there was a couple scenes where Nikki's dresses in this show has become more and more revealing. I'm not sure if you have noticed.
Yeah.
But it's like one of those things where it's like, okay, Nikki Bella's on TV. Oh, look, cleavage.
You see fucking more of her tits than... She might as well just fucking be naked half the fucking time.
Exactly. But more and more, they're starting off scenes now where, like, let's say they're at a dinner table. The camera will be zoomed in on her, on the plate in front of her, which is, you know, right at her tits.
Yeah.
And I've noticed, like, at least once an episode, there will be a scene cut, and that's how they, like, pan out, is from Nikki Bella's tits. It's hilarious. Because I'm like, wow, you guys are really going there. Which, we were talking about Raw's ratings just dropping. The Total Divas ratings are dropping as well.
It's just fucking football's on.
Not on Tuesday.
Oh, true.
And really, I don't think the football audience is the audience that they're going for in Total Divas.
But, like...
Yeah, I wouldn't think so.
But, like, your main TV shows on the networks are back, too.
Yeah.
So...
Oh, yeah, like, I would much rather watch the Muppets than watch Total Divas if I had a choice between which one I was going to watch live. Which the Muppets was amazing this week.
Even though, what is it, the 1 million moms are protesting it or some shit?
Oh my god. Don't even get me started with that shit. So I saw this, and I am a huge Muppet fan. Like, I don't know, like, it's just like one of those things, like, some of my earliest like TV memories, I guess you could say, involve Muppets. Like it was like Sesame Street. Like I was like a huge Sesame Street fan when I was like a little kid, and I would see Kermit the Frog on Sesame Street. And then whenever I realized that there was another show with Kermit the Frog, I was attached. And one of those shows I grew out of, and the other show I've never grown out of. You know, it's like Muppets have something there for me, and I'll still watch it. Like every show that they put on TV, I've watched, and I was always excited for. So, this Muppet show is a little more adult-based, I guess you could say.
Mm-hmm.
But it's really not. If you think about this, it's really not. But it's funny because those 1 million moms or whatever that you were talking about, they're pissed off because there is references to sex. The drug jokes are hilarious coming from the band. Like Floyd, I want to say he's the sax player.
Yeah.
And they're like, at the beginning of the show, Kermit's like, hey guys, you know, this is a meeting. And Floyd is like, wait, this is a meeting? All right, man. Hi, everyone. My name is Floyd. And they're like, no, not that kind of meeting. And I was like, yes, this is hilarious. You know, it's just stuff like that. So I understand like why these 1 million moms, which if you go to their Facebook page, it's not even 80,000. So I understand because it is a cruder version of the Muppets.
Mm-hmm.
That being said, the Muppet pilot, like the original Muppet show, the pilot was called Sex and Violence.
Yeah, I saw that.
You know, and it's like one of those things. It's like, come on, you guys are pissed off, and you're like, Jim Henson would never have approved of this. He was a family. Bullshit.
Yeah, you clearly never watched some of the older Muppet shows.
Yeah, that was heavily drug influenced. And it was amazing.
Because
and that's what
most people, all they know about fucking the Muppets is, hey, Kermit the Frog is a fucking puppet. You know? How could a puppet ever be fucking dirty and raunchy?
Right.
I would watch Team America.
And it was funny. It was funny though because before the show, like, I started seeing like a lot of people post on social media places, like Facebook and whatnot, like these stupid memes about. I guess like there was like a hardcore like feminist group that was like really mad because Kermit the Frog and Miss Piggy broke up, and Kermit the Frog is now dating like a thinner pig. So there was like people like I guess like legitimately pissed off about this. And I saw this one meme and they were just like, so you're like really upset about this, but apparently, you know, all the abuse that Kermit has gone through over the decades is totally okay. Like,
did you see their appearance on Jimmy Kimmel?
No.
Oh, you got to check that out. It's hilarious. They even set up a Tinder account for Miss Piggy.
Nice. Nice.
Anyway, let's get back into wrestling before we get too...
Well,
yeah, before we get more
speaking of relationships, though, Cesaro and Tyson Kidd.
Yes. Okay. This was the best part. So... throughout the entire series of Total Divas, whenever you see TJ or Tyson Kidd, but whenever you see TJ on there, he would be always texting someone. And
or watching videos or something along those lines.
Or he would be making plans because Cesaro will be on TV that night. And I guess this is what you would call a slow build in wrestling, and it's sad that Total Divas got the slow build right. Because they're planting these seeds throughout this whole time that, like, TJ is obsessed with Cesaro. You know?
Yeah, they like show all these flashbacks of all these times on the show where he was, you know, texting Cesaro or watching Cesaro's videos or whatever.
Yeah, and it would be funny. And, like, the stuff that he would be saying would be like, Cesaro looks really good in this video. You know, and he's going, no, the guy, like, looks great in the ring. Like, that's how he's talking about it.
Yeah.
But Natty, the entire episode, is bitching because she's bitching because TJ is spending too much time with Cesaro. TJ talks about Cesaro all the time. TJ doesn't pay attention to her because he's worried about what Cesaro is doing right now. Just, she's setting it up like, you know, TJ might as well be gay for Cesaro. At one point, she actually says, you know, they might as well just get married. Because she has something about hooking people up and getting them married.
And it's always a spring wedding.
Oh, yeah, she's obsessed with them spring weddings. I'm happy that you caught that. So finally, Paige is just like, I can't take this anymore. Everyone else is just kind of annoyed, but they're like, it's just Natty being Natty, and she's crazy. So we're going to leave the crazy lady be and let her say whatever she wants, and everyone will be happy. So Paige gets TJ on the phone, and she's asking him all of these questions. Well, first she asks Natty, she's like, is TJ gay? Like, finally, like, someone asks, like, this question on the show. And she's like, no. So Paige gets him on the phone, and she starts asking questions about Cesaro. You know, she's like, so, do you like Cesaro? He's like, yeah, I love Cesaro. Why wouldn't I? You know, but she's asking him, like, all of these, like, really vague questions that you would ask about your best friend. So if someone was asking you questions about your best friend, these would be the answers that you would be giving. But the way how Paige was asking them, it definitely had that double entendre there, like, dude, you're kind of gay for Cesaro. And it was hilarious.
Oh my god. And then he didn't even catch on. She was like she finally fessed up to it, or I forget what she said, but then he just was like, whatever. Cesaro's awesome. I'm gonna keep talking about Cesaro.
And then Natty gets the phone back, and she's just like, and then he's like, why does she care if I talk about Cesaro? He's like, I don't understand it. Cesaro's great.
It's like he can bench 150 with one arm, and that's just showing off. I don't know what his max is.
Yeah. It's just like, what?
So we got another billion check on our hands.
Definitely. If TJ ever comes back to the ring, which I have my doubts, they could definitely build that story up, and it would be hilarious. So George, I know you don't like Total Divas. This is the episode to watch.
Okay.
It was just so great because that one moment, it was worth it.
All right. What else we got here?
Well, did you guys watch the Superstar tattoos? The latest one, or Superstar Inks?
I didn't watch it.
That's two of them since the last time we were together. They had they had Big Show, and then they had Kofi Kingston.
Yeah, I have not watched it. When I say I have not watched it, I have not watched these two. I watched the first one with Randy Orton, I believe. Or maybe it was Barrett, and then I saw... No, it wasn't Randy Orton. He's not been on there
it's
yet.
been...
I was thinking of something else. But I have seen the Barrett one, and I like the show, and I just forget that it's there.
Yeah, the Big Show one was pretty interesting. He did the interview in Big Show's bus. Big Show has his own bus. And he's talking about his big tiger tattoo and how he got the idea for it. Basically, he went on a wildlife safari thing where you take pictures and stuff, and he managed to snap a picture of a tiger that was walking towards him, and he got the picture just as the tiger got just almost to the camera and snapped the picture, and then he had a guy make a tattoo of that. So I thought that was Yeah, I thought that was pretty cool. And then Kofi Kingston's, all of his are stuff from.
Whoa! You're taking up like 4 weeks of solid radio time with all in one foul swoop here, buddy. We could have dragged those 2 episodes out over the course of like 6 weeks.
Oh, okay. They're like 5 minutes each. Come on.
All right. Go ahead.
But Kofi's was like his whole Ghana heritage or something, and he explained all of his what different the thing that's going down his spine, what it means, and Kofi's got himself an actual video arcade. They were at a place where I guess it's his own video arcade in his house or something, which was pretty cool. Okay, I'm done.
Let's see.
I got Undertaker.
Yeah, let's do some Undertaker.
Yeah, let's check.
Undertaker.
All right. So this was Undertaker versus Big Daddy Cool Diesel at WrestleMania 12. And if you didn't know his name was Big Daddy Cool Diesel, Vince McMahon will make sure you did by the end of this match. Because he said it approximately 1,000 times.
So you're saying this is a good drinking game?
Probably. So yeah, let's see. So this match was very important history-wise because this is the first match that Undertaker actually starts wrestling as a wrestler instead of a fucking zombie. He's really less stiff. You know, he's actually wrestling. He's not just fucking no-selling everything like he did the previous matches, if you know what I mean. So he was still doing his, he does his classic sit-up, over the rope, landing on his feet. He did the old school. Diesel, though, dominated most of the match. One cool spot they did this double running boot to the face where they both get knocked out. Undertaker did a sit-up, though. That was pretty cool. Let's see here. Diesel did the jackknife on him twice, and Undertaker sat up both times. And then Undertaker did his flying clothesline, chokeslam, tombstone, and won the match. It was definitely a lot better of a wrestling match than previous ones, and it definitely got a higher rating for me. So,
quick question: how was Undertaker's entrance?
I gave it a 7. And see, this is why I like to review these like right after I watch them. So it's been a few weeks since I've seen this, so I don't really remember anything too memorable about the entrance. But it was good enough to get a 7, which I wrote down. Then, so crowd I gave a 6. Undertaker factor 7. Overall match 7. Entrance 7. Announcing 6. Match moments 7. So total of 40 points. So if we go back here. So I'm going to, from what we've reviewed so far, this match was number 1 at 40. King Kong Bundy was second at 29, so there was a good jump there. Then third was Jake Roberts, fourth Giant Gonzalez, and dead last was Jimmy Snuka. So I'm definitely excited to see what it's going to be like going forward, because I think the quality of the match is definitely going to be up there now. Definitely see an improvement. All right. What else did you review this week?
Table for 3 with Ivory, Molly Holly, and Medusa, or Lunder Blaze, whatever you want to call her, I guess. I'm really been enjoying the show a lot. So, you know, like, what was it? I think the last time I talked about this was New Day, and that was a good one. I'm not even sure if we talked about that one on here, but that was a good episode.
No, I don't think we've talked about that one yet.
Yeah, but this one I think is my favorite next to the Piper one.
Mm-hmm.
Like, this was good. Ivory was hilarious. Well, she said something that struck a chord with me. She was like, why the hell are they calling us divas? She's like, we're women. She's like, none of us are singers. We're not divas. You know, and I was like, that's good. That's good. And
do you think the timing for this sets up the women's belt coming back? Or is it just a coincidence?
I think it's probably just a coincidence. I wouldn't be surprised if they had this one in the can, like if they have like the entire season ready to go, and then having Charlotte get the belt. They were like, okay, well, we could put this on. This is part of the Divas Revolution. What better way than have 3 actual women wrestlers talk about wrestling? You know, and that was good. Molly Holly, like, they were all just giving each other just, like, crazy props. You know what I'm saying? Like, all of them were like, you were so good in the ring. And Alundra Blaze was not in the WWF whenever Molly Holly or Ivory were there. You know, so, like, she's never really worked with Ivory to my knowledge. And
no, she hasn't.
Yeah, so, like, it was good, though. Like, it was really good. Alundra Blaze talked about her 3 years in Japan, about their touring lifestyle. Pretty much, it was 3 years on a bus in Japan. And she talked about, like, that whole, like, living situation on a bus. It was pretty interesting. Molly Holly just talking about how she thinks that she was the last of her kind, which she really was, if you think about it, because after her, like, you know, like, her Lita and Trish, like, during that era, like, the women's division became divas, and it just became shit for a very long time.
Yeah.
You know, so,
it became,
but she talks about
prettiest.
Right, but Molly Holly talks about why she shaved her head on TV. Basically, she was the women's champion, and they were not going to have a women's championship belt, like a match, in WrestleMania. And she was just talking to him. She's like, look, if you need to shave if I need to, like, cut my hair, shave my head for this, I'll do it. Like, you could take my hair. I want to be on WrestleMania. You know, and that's why that happened.
That's pretty impressive.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and because she came from an indie background, which I was not really aware of. You know, so she has that mentality. You know, which is why Alundra Blaze really admired her. But they did work together before, like in WCW. And Molly Holly asked Alundra Blaze the real story behind the belt being thrown out.
That was my favorite part.
Yeah, it was interesting because if you watch WWE TV, like if you watch the Monday Night Wars, they'll talk about that moment, but they don't tell you what led up to that moment. They don't say, we fired or we released Alundra Blaze, and we were surprised to see, like, they don't even say that. You know, like, they were like, we were surprised when she was on WCW Nitro with the belt. You know, but what really happened was, that was during the steroid trials and all that stuff. And Alundra Blaze was just saying, you know, look, Vince is losing money. His company is falling to the ground right now, and they had to cut corners, so Vince decided to get rid of the women's division, and I was one of the first to go. So she was released, And then within 24 hours, she was signed on WCW. And Bischoff, whenever he signed her, was just like, hey, bring the women's belt with you. She's like, yeah, whatever. I'm signing. I got a job. This is great. It's like 24 hours after you get laid off, you're already hired. That's amazing. So she goes and she signs the paper, and then Bischoff is like, hey, do you mind throwing this in the garbage can on TV? And her whole thing is like, yeah, I don't care, whatever. She's just thinking, I got a job. And she's like, this could be a cool story. She's not thinking anything beyond that. Mm-hmm. So once this all happens, she gets there and this happens and they're all excited. And her whole thing was, I need the belt back so I give it back to Vince. That was her whole ordeal. And, the rest is history, but that's why it happened pretty much.
Who the fuck releases a champion in their company?
Vince. Because, and really that explains the women's division or Divas division now.
Well, you also have the case of Mike Awesome.
Yeah.
With ECW. But he wasn't under a full... I don't think he was under a full-time contract whenever he was champion. That was his deal. Why you would put the belt on somebody you don't have under a full-time contract, that was another deal, and that led to the whole Taz being a WWE wrestler wrestling Mike Awesome, who's a WCW wrestler, on an ECW pay-per-view.
That's just weird.
Yeah, that was the one and only time you will ever see something like that.
Huh.
And then, of course, like the next night on Raw, Triple H jobs out Taz while he's still holding the ECW title and just squashes him like a bug.
Of course. Well, why would they fucking give Taz the belt?
They weren't sure what Mike Awesome was going to do, and they knew Taz, if it came down to it, Taz could force the issue. Taz could legit choke him out if they needed to. So that's how that ended up being. I don't think Mike Awesome didn't want to drop it to anybody else in ECW at that time. So they brought back Taz just for the one night to take the belt off of Mike Awesome.
Wouldn't a better option have been, hey, Mike Awesome's no longer with our company. Let's just have a fucking new tournament or something.
Well, they were afraid he was going to do what Alundra Blaze did, show up on TV with the belt.
Just say he's got a fucking replica. This is our belt right here. Bam.
Yeah, but it was one of those strange times that they wanted... That was the only way they could make sure his belt didn't show up on WCW TV.
Right.
And Vince hated WCW that much that he was willing to let a WWE contract wrestler show up on an ECW pay-per-view to stick it to WCW.
Well, he got
and you saw how
ECW as well by letting Taz lose Triple H the next night.
Yeah, well, yeah.
So Triple H is going fucking over.
Yeah, pretty much at that point, yeah. And even Triple H has said since then that maybe it wasn't the brightest idea for him to beat Taz the way he did right after he won the ECW title, but that was during his reign of terror, so he was squashing anybody and everybody to begin with. So,
is there any storyline in the WWE that doesn't end with Triple H going over?
I don't think so.
Yeah.
If you there's that whole 6 degrees of separation deal. If you follow that concept, you're always gonna end with someone getting squashed by Triple H within 6 degrees of separation.
Yeah,
What it
pretty
is-
much.
I think there was that one time, like, when he was on the shit list because he, like, the Clique broke kayfabe.
Oh, the curtain call?
Yeah.
And he wasn't even really on the shit list for that. He was on there. He lost for 3 months, not even.
Hey, but those 3 months were the longest 3 months.
And the fact that if it weren't for that, he was supposed to win the King of the Ring that Austin won. So think about that. Had Triple H not done the curtain call, Austin would have never won the King of the Ring, had his Austin 316 moment, and gotten as big as he did.
Yeah.
I'm okay with that. I am okay with the way how that, played out.
Yeah.
Let's see here. I reviewed No Way Out 2004, Eddie Guerrero versus Brock Lesnar.
Oh, that was an awesome match.
See, I don't know. This was a time frame which I was not watching wrestling, so this is the first time I ever saw this. And I just randomly picked something on the network to watch, and lucky me, I actually picked a decent match. I don't know. Overall, the match, I was not super impressed for it, especially because of the finish. So let me just run through it real fast. So, Eddie Guerrero versus Brock Lesnar for the WWE title. Brock Lesnar looks so fucking young in 2004. It's ridiculous. He looks like he's fucking like a teenager, but he's just so fucking strong still. And then Eddie came out in a car. Pretty impressive entrance. The crowd was all for Eddie Guerrero at that time, it looked like. So the match starts, and it basically looked like a typical Brock Lesnar match now. Brock Lesnar was just dominating fucking Eddie Guerrero. He was doing these huge, he did this huge backdrop. He was taunting Eddie Guerrero. He kept on saying, "You ain't nothing, Eddie. You ain't nothing." He did botch Eddie. I guess Eddie Guerrero jumped off the turnbuckle or something, and he botched that. You could definitely tell that Brock Lesnar was not as experienced as he is now. He wasn't some of the moves weren't the best. So basically, what the match turned into was Eddie Guerrero was just getting dominated the entire time, and in order to make it a little believable that he's going to take out Brock Lesnar, he did the classic, I'm going to focus on one body part the whole match. So Eddie Guerrero was, taking out Brock Lesnar's knee the whole match. But pretty much, let's see here. So even though Brock Lesnar was dominating this whole match, he kept on doing fucking sleeper holds and shit to drag out the time, which I just felt like it was out of place. Like, why, if you're dominating this guy, why are you doing a sleeper hold? Just do fucking power bombs and shit, It's, sleeper holds in my head are to buy yourself time, you know what I mean? Where Brock Lesnar did not need to buy himself time. He was winning the match. He was, dominating. So up until this point, it's basically been suplexes after suplexes. So suplex 6, number 6, Eddie Guerrero hit his head pretty bad. So again, inexperienced Brock Lesnar fucked up a suplex. Eddie Guerrero hit his head pretty bad. But up until this point, Eddie Guerrero has done nothing but hit the knee a few times, and he did some reversals. And then Eddie Guerrero finally, starts to get in the match. He goes to the top rope, and they fucking ruin it with fucking replays, like they always do. And
so the replays were even back then.
Yeah, they ruined the fucking pivotal swing of the match with the fucking replay of I don't even remember what the replay was. It was something retarded, but so yeah, Eddie Guerrero focuses on the knee. He puts Brock Lesnar in STF. Then he puts he tries to put Brock Lesnar in a figure 4, but fucks it up badly. Brock Lesnar then starts bleeding, and then this part sort of threw me off as well, because Brock Lesnar kept saying, "Die, Eddie, die!" I'm like, oh shit.
You're like, oh,
too soon.
Yeah, Brock. A little foreshadowing there.
Yeah. So and then this threw me off the match too. Is Brock Lesnar still pretty much dominating the match? He gets Eddie in a gut lock. Do you know what a fucking gut lock is? You give someone a fucking hug around their gut, and that's it. You hug them until they fucking tap out. And it looks so retarded. It looked like he was... It was horrible. It was one of the worst...
Well, to be fair, during that time, he actually beat Hulk Hogan using that move.
Which that's pretty impressive.
Because he actually got Hulk Hogan. They did the whole blood out of the mouth thing. Brock Lesnar had built that move up until that point to where that was a legit move, and he'd actually beat Hulk Hogan with that move. Now it looks a little kind of stupid, but at the time he had built it up enough to where you could kind of buy into it.
Okay. See, yeah, I was seeing it out of context then, I guess.
Right, so if this wasn't in context, you'd be like, "Oh, that makes sense."
Okay,
you're right. If you'd seen everything, the whole build up and everything going into it, that would be something you would go, "Okay, yeah, he's already beat Hogan with that. Yeah, he can beat anybody with that." So, okay, go ahead. Sorry.
Well, thank you. I did not know that. So then Eddie Guerrero does his triple suplex and a frog splash, which is fucking thing of beauty. And then, we get Brock Lesnar. He does an F5 on Eddie Guerrero, but this is when the match really fucking takes the shit. He knocks the referee out while he's spinning to do the F5, and fucking Goldberg's dumbass comes out and interferes. And he does his. I think he does a spear on Brock Lesnar, and the belt sort of gets into the ring, and it looks like Eddie Guerrero's gonna hit fucking Brock Lesnar with the belt, but then he ends up missing or something, and then Eddie does frog splash, and then ends up doing a DDT or something onto the belt, but it didn't really connect. But you know how they fucking do it. Oh, he was on the belt, even though he's like a foot away.
Right.
But then Eddie Guerrero won. So personally, the match overall, it was a little entertaining. It's definitely worth a watch. I felt like for the first time Eddie Guerrero, for his first, because this was his first championship in WWE, they should have let him win clean. And I know they had to set up Goldberg, but come on, Eddie Guerrero deserved a clean win, and they could have done it.
But that wasn't Eddie's character at the time.
I mean, I would have been fine with Eddie Guerrero cheating on his own, but the Goldberg interference is what I mean. Like, they shouldn't have done that, you know?
Yeah, well, the previous pay-per-view is where I think they started the seeds of it. At one point, Lesnar had done something to Goldberg to cause him to want to come and screw over Lesnar. I don't remember the whole setup or anything, but at the time it made sense for Goldberg to interfere to do that. And with Eddie, his character at the time, he was always the lie, cheat, steal, win by any means necessary kind of guy. So it made sense for his character at that time. Nowadays, that finish wouldn't go over well, but for the time frame where it was and where everybody was at in the card and everything, it made sense.
I guess, watching things out of, without knowing what's going on around it really changes the look of how it looks in a match. Because
it really does.
Yeah, because also, like, Eddie Guerrero has been pretty much placed on, like, a sainthood.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Like within the WWE, that it's really easy to forget that he was that dirty heel. You know what I'm saying? Like as George was saying, like, he would just do, like, the lie, cheat, steal thing, and that was, like, his whole gimmick for what seemed like a while.
But that's the thing I have an issue. He didn't do anything. It was Goldberg. They should have let Eddie Guerrero fucking hit Brock Lesnar in the head with the belt. I would have been fine with that. So, I don't know. But it's just definitely worth a watch. It's, a piece of wrestling history, basically. So, you got anything else to review before we head out? It's getting late.
I have some stuff that I could probably hold off till next week, so...
Alright,
I think we're good.
If it's something that you're not gonna forget, like, some of these matches I review, I'm like, damn, I forget half the shit by the time it's time to talk about it.
Right. Oh, real quick, well, I guess while we're on it this week, did you see Raw this week, Tyler?
Yep. Well, I sort of watched Raw.
Right. So, the Paige bomb, if you will. I figure that we could talk about it while it's still somewhat relevant, because, after Monday it won't be anymore.
Yeah.
So, pretty much what happened on Raw, and really this Raw was very lackluster, like, there was not much. If it tells you, like, this is the biggest thing that happened. So, on Raw, they're doing, like, the Charlotte celebration. Like, Ric Flair's out there. Ric Flair's crying. Charlotte's crying. Becky Lynch is being nice. And, she's being Becky Lynch. And I remember, I believe it was on the Night of Champions bonus episode where I talked about this, where I was like, Paige is distancing herself from Becky Lynch and Charlotte. And I was just calling it like I saw, just like, body language, like that kind of stuff. It turns out I was right. Which is why I wanted to bring this one up, because I called it.
People, mark this day on the calendar. Richard was right for the first time at 4:14 a.m. on September 25th, 2015. So,
but yeah, so Paige goes up there and she steals the microphone from Charlotte when she's giving her, like, thank you for everything, Paige. Like, I've always, aspired to be in your role or your shoes, like that kind of thing. And Paige just goes off on her and the entire women's division. Like, it was nice, but it felt weird. But the cool thing about this was it brought Natty back into the division.
Yeah, I'm surprised to see her back, which is sort of good.
Yeah, and I also thought it was funny that she made fun of Lana and Summer, who I really don't consider part of that division just because they're so, somewhere else.
Yeah.
Like, they're not really...
They're sort of
fighting for a belt or
moment,
right, but she bitched about them, and I was like, that's weird. I mean, Lana's not even there to defend herself.
But it's good. They needed to break these teams up.
They did. They really did. I'm really happy about it because at least one team is broken up.
Yeah.
You know, so they're on the correct path. Hopefully, this will mean the end of the Bellas for a long time on TV, which I just don't see happening because of Total Divas.
And you know, I feel sad for Naomi. She's a nice woman ever, but once Sasha breaks off, you're never gonna see her or Tamina ever fucking again.
Right. Which isn't bad because, well, I feel bad for Naomi, but Tamina, she doesn't really bring anything. Naomi really doesn't bring anything. If you think about it, they have her as a heel, but she's the nicest woman ever in the company, or at least that's how she's portrayed on TV. You know, and it's just, But yeah, so the Paige thing, that was cool. Yeah, that's really, like, all I really want to bring up. For Raw.
Well, I want to bring up my new favorite version of Kane, schizophrenic Kane.
Yes.
Which is entertaining. So I'm looking forward to this. I don't know if it's going to be a Hell in a Cell match or the main event or what, but we're going to see Kane versus Rollins at Hell in a Cell most likely. So it should be all right. I don't think we've seen that match in a long time, if ever. I don't remember.
I don't think we've ever seen. No, there was one Kane Rollins match. Where Kane was supposed to lay down for Rollins,
but I think he eventually did end up laying down for. I don't know. It wasn't.
Yeah, he did. He did, but he choke slammed him, then laid down and pulled Rollins on top of him for the pin.
Yeah. So.
Yeah. So. Yeah, like that's a good lead-in actually. Like I like what they're doing with Kane, and this should be a lesson. This should be a lesson for WWE television. Kane has been gone for how long? A month and a half, 2 months?
Yeah, a couple months at least, yeah.
I'm okay seeing him back on TV.
Yeah, give fucking people a fucking vacation every once in a while. And then when they come back, it's a breath of fresh air.
You know? Right. That's like Jim Cornette always says, how can you miss me if I'm never gone? He always brings that up, especially in regards to like John Cena and stuff. He's always constantly there, so you can't be special if you're always there. If you disappear for a couple of months, then come back, then you're special. That's how Undertaker has lasted as long as he has. Is he's not always there. He's always a special attraction whenever he does show up. So.
Yeah, I remember when I was a kid, it was like fucking every year he'd fucking get burned alive in a casket and be gone for 3 months or something like that.
Exactly.
And what's funny is Vince knows this. Vince is well aware of that psychology because he talked about it on the first Stone Cold podcast on the WWE Network, because Stone Cold was asking him like about the championship because at the time Lesnar had it, and Lesnar had the championship, but he only showed up 3 times that year.
Yeah,
like it was like something like crazy, right? And Stone Cold is like, dude, this is your champion. You know, this is the main item on your television show. And Vince is like, I think it's okay being gone, because when it comes back, and when he comes back, people are more excited about it. So he knows that the philosophy works, but he doesn't apply it unless it's Brock Lesnar and Undertaker.
See, and this is where a world heavyweight belt could come in play too. You could have fucking Lesnar showing up once every 3 months with the big belt. If you have like that world heavyweight belt that's constantly in play.
Right.
So I don't. Yeah, they do. To keep people healthy, you know, you fucking give people a vacation.
Right. Oh, I agree with that.
One of the best things, some of the most memorable moments when I was a kid was when people do that return after being gone, you know? Comebacks, you know? They come back at the Royal Rumble. They come back at wherever, you know? Like, one of the very few things I remember was when Undertaker did come back from getting buried alive. It was at Cleveland, on a Raw, I think it was. But I remember specifically it was at Cleveland because it's like, oh, that was fucking badass.
Yeah, no, that's a huge thing. It's like those big comebacks. You remember that.
Mhm.
You know, you remember big championship fights. There's certain things that you remember. You're not necessarily going to remember that John Cena was on Raw every week. Well, actually, you'll never forget that because they won't let you forget it because he's on Raw every week.
Exactly.
You know, but you're not going to think back to this era 5-10 years from now going, that was a good time seeing John Cena there all the time. No, you're going to think back, remember that time that Batista came out and it was a total failure? But it was an entrance and it's memorable.
Mm-hmm.
It's something different. It's not just John Cena's there every week.
Even they did it recently with Ambrose as well. Remember when he got his face in the blocks?
And yeah. He was on 2 weeks or something.
Well, he was supposed to be gone a little bit longer, but I think Reigns got injured, right? So then they had to force to bring him back sooner, which everyone, loved when he came back. It's just unfortunate that they fucking made him lose 10 matches in a row after that. But
yeah,
when he first came back, he was awesome.
Well, I just don't think they should have ever programmed him with Bray Wyatt at that point. Both of those guys were still in the process of being built up, so you should have never put two people that can't lose together because one of them will lose.
Right. Oh, definitely. Yeah, but I think that's it. Or at least I think that's all I have for tonight's show.
Oh, I could probably go another 6 hours, but yeah, you guys need these.
All right, guys, marathon show it is.
All right, I'm going to take a quick 3-hour break. I'll be back.
Cool.
Just fill me in.
Well, it's always great talking to you two, so it's a lot of fun. Makes the time go by really quick.
Oh, yes. And thank you for joining us again. It's been fun. Do you have any plugs that you want to throw out there?
Well, my buddy Josh Baker does the Beer and Song of the Day on YouTube. And then I've got another guy that does Heavy Metal and Booze. He's going to be starting a podcast next week. You should, if you're into heavy metal at all, you should check that out. And if you're into Star Trek, my other friend Justin Dimmitt does a YouTube show and has a page called Prosper LLA. It's a whole Star Trek thing if you're into Star Trek. So those would be the only three I really want to throw out there.
All right. Let's see. Face the Music podcast with Joe and Amy. Hey, Joe, how are you doing out there? Yeah, they released another show earlier today, I think. And it was an interesting show, but they did give us a really nice shout out. And let's see. Geeks of the Industry, Chunky Larry. He's doing a lot of crazy stuff over there, and it's always entertaining. I'm going to be on an episode of Creature Features here soon. I believe we'll be talking about Chopping Mall, so that'll be fun. And let's see, Wrestling Soup with Mission Joey. And our own plugs, because it would be silly to not do that. You can find us on facebook.com/onthenetworkpodcast or onthenetworkpodcast.com, or you can email us at onthenetworkpodcast@gmail.com. You can also find us on Twitter at onthenetworkpod, or myself, at RSTRAHS, rstraws, on Twitter. And you can also find us on SoundCloud, iTunes, Stitcher, or I'm sure there's other sites out there with us.
Yeah.
out there.
Don't forget your BB and BC podcast.
Oh, very true. Very true. Oh, Jason X is coming up this weekend, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
Oh, that's going to be exciting.
I just finished listening to Savage Vengeance today.
I got Westworld in yesterday.
I actually found my DVD of Westworld and watched it again a couple of days ago.
Yeah, that show is great. Like, I really do enjoy BB and BC with Mike and Iris. It's definitely amazing. And also, another quick thing. Hey, Mark, I doubt you can hear me say hi to you.
Okay.
I think I'm going to start saying hi to my friend Mark on every show. So, guys, be prepared for that one.
And he will never hear it.
He'll never hear it. Like, I'm going to have to name a show, Hey Mark, we talk about you. But the thing is because we're a wrestling show, like, half the people are like, oh, wrestling marks, okay.
Exactly.
But, yeah, I think that's it for myself. Tyler, do you got anything?
No, that's about it. Got my own Facebook page now. Apparently, my wife didn't approve of some of the shit that was getting posted. So, I guess, so I replied to one of her friend's posts. It was what was it? It said, what movie have you seen 5 or more times that still keeps you excited? And I replied, Busty Sluts 5. And apparently, the woman was this old lady at her church. So,
oh wow!
So yeah, so I have my own Facebook page. Look me up on Facebook. Add me as friend.
All right. Yeah, so I think that's it.
All right. Good night.
Good night.
Later.